Hi guys, and welcome to the latest video. Today I'm going to be doing a top 10 sales video based on November. So these are the 10 most valuable sales that we had on the main store for the whole month of November, and I think it's something I'm going to try to continue and do on a monthly basis. So I'll go through all my sales for a month, pick out the 10 most valuable, and then we'll rattle through them quickly, so you'll have a nice bite-sized quick video to see what kind of high value items I'm selling, and to see whether any of those interest you and you might get into selling yourself. So without further ado, I'm just going to switch to webcam mode and we're going to get into the first few items. Some of these you'll have seen before, but it's what I sold, so there we go. Here we go. This is the first item I sold. This is a massive, huge 1/5 scale radio control car. It's a low C desert buggy. You can see some photos of it. It was working nicely. It runs on a 23cc gas engine, just like you'd find on a petrol head strimmer. You can see there was a bit of damage to the casing, but I took some photos of it, and I actually took an offer for a quick sale because it was huge, taking up a lot of space, and I sold it for £350. Overall, I made a profit because this, when I originally bought it, came with a transmitter which I sold for about £200. So overall I made some profit on it, and pretty decent sale there. I did actually pay £350 for the buggy and the transmitter, I should add. So the transmitter was like, the £200 worth of sale, and this was another £350 of sale, so made about £550 minus your fees, so a little bit of profit. I bought it because I kind of wanted to keep it, but then realized very quickly I couldn't afford to run a 1/5 scale petrol buggy. But that was the first sale and probably the most valuable. Second sale, moving on. Now this is something I'm really proud to have sold. As you guys may know, I'm really into my coffee. I love freshly ground coffee beans made in a decent machine, and for a home machine this was really nice. This is it's an office pulsar made by a company called Expo Bar, or like it's rebadged here by Staffco, which is like a UK distributor. But yeah, it was made in Italy, I think. I can't remember. I can't see it on the label there, but where it was made. But anyway, it's a really good quality coffee machine. It's a commercial coffee machine, and it was designed to be used in a like a small coffee shop or a small pub or a hotel or something like that, because it's not designed to make tons and tons of drinks one after the other. It doesn't have the power to do that, but it is what's known as a heat exchanger machine, which means you can steam milk and brew espresso, and it gets up to temperature really quickly. Now this was actually an eBay buy. I bought this coffee machine for £88 off of eBay, and I used it for a good few months until I realized really the space was a bit of an issue, because I actually had it out here in my office because it was too big for the kitchen. And in the end we put it up for sale for £400. Bear in mind I paid 88, and I took an offer of like 315, I think it was, plus shipping, and it's gone. So I'm proud of selling this because I didn't want to sell it. It was something I wanted to keep, but I'm in the mode at the moment where I've got to make as much money as I can and focus as much as I can on selling stuff rather than holding on to it. I'm sure there'll come a time when I will be able to afford a much nicer coffee machine than this. It's a bit extra, that's all, a bit unnecessary, so it had to go. Moving on, again, an item that you may have seen. This was an epic sale. I bought this on a Sunday from a car boot for £20. It's a Thin Lizzy vintage tour jacket. You can see it actually had a few marks around the collar area. You can see the embroidery of the actual brand of the band was good, and the tour date. So took a few decent photos. Vintage 1980s jacket. Put it up at £500 because I didn't want to undersell it. I didn't want to wake up and find that it just sold to an international buyer at my full asking and me wondering whether I'd undersold it. So put it up for £500. It still didn't take long. I think it took maybe a day or two to sell, and I took an offer of, I think, 300 and something. I don't know, it was 300 or something around that mark. But from £20 to 300, I'm very pleased with that sale as well. Moving on. This is something that a lot of you guys will know already. This is a Panasonic DVD VHS Combo, which allows you to record from VHS tapes onto DVD discs. I've had this sat around for ages, just didn't get around to testing it. I finally did, and it works beautifully. It was in actually very good condition, just only a few marks. You can see I took some photos of the remote control, took some photos of the back, including the label where it's made sure that in one of the photos you can read the serial number. Took some photos of the top of the case, close-ups of the front fascia. And yeah, pretty happy with this sale. This actually sold for asking £120, and I believe, I'm not sure where it went, I think I've got a feeling it went abroad for like £30 on top shipping, I think. So in total the customer paid £150 for it. So pretty pleased with that sale. I think this owes me maybe a £5 or a £10, so really good profit, guys, really good profit in that. Moving on, it's another RC car. This was actually something I bought off of Steve Hicksey. Some of you will know him, and he had a bunch of stuff he bought, RC stuff, and he wanted to get rid of. I bought it off him, a whole bunch of things like helicopters and cars, and I've done okay out of it. And this is an electric 1/5 scale buggy. I thought this was going to be worth a lot more, but I didn't do my proper research, and I got stung a little bit because it wasn't worth quite as much. And also I had to sell it for spares repair rather than fully working because it had some issues. But in the end, I think I got like around 160 or 170 for this buggy, something along those lines. So pretty pleased with this sale here. So it's an electric big 1/5 scale radio control car. Moving on, another radio control sale, but this one is super special. I know on the screen it just says £5.99, and that is because I had a bunch of these 2-speed transmission gears, and looking at what other people were selling them for, that was kind of like the going rate. I had quite a few of these. Now I sold a few on their own for £5.99. They just go in a large letter. But what was really cool about this sale, the reason why I'm sharing it in my top 10 sales, it's not that £5.99 is one of my top 10 sales. It's actually because an RC specialist in Spain, who has a website, shop, etc., and then obviously an eBay store, they just bought out pretty much everything I had left. I think I had about 21 or 22 of these, something along those lines left. So I only sold about 5. You can see it says 27 sold, but 21 or 22 of these were sold to one buyer. They didn't like make me any offers or anything. They just bought 21 or 22 of these. I think it totaled up to like £120 odd sale, something like that, I'm not sure. So really pleased to get rid of so many of these, and all going to one place, one shipping cost. It went as a small parcel, tracked and signed, so I was very pleased with this sale. It was just one of my most just enjoyable sales, because I'm probably pennies but like into this stuff per unit, so to make that kind of profit is fantastic, especially in one go. Moving on, guys, now this is a pickup that I made before. I actually bought an RC car off of a lady at a car boot, and she told me she had another one like at home, and it was this car here, and I did pay for this, so it's not a great sale, but it's in my top 10 because of it sold, because of the value it sold for. Now I paid, I think, £80, so I really paid up. I was in kind of like a RC kind of high at the moment, and I wanted this for myself. Really played around with it, decided it really wasn't for me. I ended up actually breaking off the servo horn on the servo as well, which wasn't great, but I just wanted it gone then. So I put it up, and even though I paid 80 for parts and spares, I got 120 plus shipping. Now what's really interesting about this sale is what I remember about this sale is even though I sold this for parts or not working clearly, and I was asking 120, so I still made a little bit of profit considering I bought it for myself for 80, to still make a little bit of profit after, you know, losing a bit of value by damaging it. And it had a few other issues I wasn't keen to be getting into fixing. I think the clutch bell needed looking at, because it was very, the car wouldn't stay still at idle no matter how small the idle gap was, etc., on the engine, on the carb intake. But yeah, I put it up as £120 for parts are not working, and the guy bought it for full price, 120 plus shipping. And then I got a message from the guy saying it wasn't as described, my description was terrible, basically having a bit of a rant at me, and letting me know that he was going to leave me like negative feedback, because he'd and I said, well, why don't you know, because this was because I said, why don't you just send it back if it's not working, because it was one of those passive aggressive messages where he didn't come out and ask for a partial return. What he did was he told me how he'd spent 60 odd pounds on repairs, etc., and I was like, well, you don't, I wouldn't want you to spend more on it, especially, you know, considering what you've paid for it. You know, spend another £60 on it is a bit insane. And he didn't want to return it, he just wanted to rant, and then he wanted to leave me a negative feedback. But luckily eBay removed the negative feedback, because I had obviously sold it as for parts and my description was accurate, so it was worth calling them. They saw the communication between myself and the buyer, and then they looked at the description and everything, and they removed it, so I was really pleased with that. So that was a little story to go with that particular sale. We're on to our 7th sale, I mean 8th sale even. This is the Bolex 715, a Super 8 sound projector. Now, I've seen these sell for a lot less money than I've sold this for, and I've seen them sell for a bit more, but generally a lot less. And this was a case of just sticking to your price and waiting for the right buyer. This is a sound projector. I think I picked this up for like a 10 or 20 quid. It's a Super 8, you know, projector basically. Came in its original box, everything there works really nicely considering its age. See, it had all its certificates, etc. And you know, I put it up for 100 and, well, it was on at 100, but then I've had price rises because I've been messing around with free post, paid post, and I've been adjusting prices as I've been doing it, and it ended up at 104.78, and I think it actually sold for that much, which was really fantastic as well. So really pleased with that sale, from 10 or 20 pounds to 104.78. On to our 9th sale, another RC car. This was again part of the bundle that I bought off of Steve Hicksey. Again, this is a really decent RC car, a lot of fun. I actually took it out and broke it. I broke one of the rear hubs, so I had to fix that up. And I didn't want to sell this as for parts not working. It was a simple fix. It was one of these hub holders on the back, on one of the back tires. I can't remember which one, but I fixed that up anyway. And I was glad that I did, because I stuck to my guns again and got £100 for this plus shipping. Brand new, this car is about £200, but because of the brand, Nanda Racing isn't what's seen as like a super good brand. It's like a good quality buggy, but people are sometimes a bit wary because parts are not as easily available as for something like an HPI or a Traxxas or a Thunder Tiger so. But anyway, I got £100 for it, so I was really pleased with that. Final sale, so this is in my top 10. So this is like the 10th sale that came up with for November, and it's the Pioneer PDR 509 CD player. CD player / recorder, made in Japan. I bought this actually when Nick and Andrea last came up in the summer. We paid like £4 for it. I tested it out recently, it works fine. Unfortunately, it was missing a knob on the front right of the machine. You can just about make it out underneath my webcam there, so it's missing that knob there. But other than that, it was fine. I took an offer of £80 for this, so from £4 to £80 plus the shipping. Very pleased with that. I had a little bit of a scare. The buyer opened a case because when they received it, they said the drawer wouldn't open, but then they tried it again and it just like started working. I think sometimes with electronics, especially when they've been left off and cold for a while, when you switch them on, you can sometimes have to wait for it to just warm up enough for it to just function correctly, especially when it's something that's been in storage for a long time, as this had been. You'll notice that on things like VHS players as well. You might find that when you first get a cold VHS player from your shed or from a car boot and you plug it in and you play it, it might sound fine, but the picture might be all out of tracking and messed up. But then once it's warmed up a bit and you've rewound the tape, forwarded the tape, and you'll see that magically it will start working in some cases. I think it was a similar thing here where they couldn't get the drawer to open, it just wasn't opening, and then I suppose when it had warmed up or whatever, they tried it, it worked fine, and they closed the returns case. So I was really happy about that. So, and they left me positive feedback too. So from £4 to £80. So guys, that actually is the end of what I have to show you. Those were my top 10 sales in order of value. So I hope you found some useful or interesting items, and some items that maybe you guys will start picking up and selling. So what I'm going to do is, going forward, hopefully every month I will sit down and pick out my top 10 value based sales. So just on what the money amount was, and we can then go through those together and in a short bite-size ish video. Saying that, I think we've now been going for 16 minutes, so not that bite-sized, but still. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a thumbs up and please leave a comment in the comment section, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.